Hey folks, welcome to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're going to be taking a look at this little fella right here, Coffee Rush. This is a game that's put out by Korea Boardgames, and it is designed by Eujin Han. This is basically transporting all of the players to a life of being a barista, and you are going to be slammed by orders in your coffee shop. Let's get down to the table and take a look, shall we? So here I have a 4-player game of Coffee Rush set up for you, and basically each player is going to take their own player board. They're also going to take their own advancement tokens, and then you're also the first player is going to take the open closed token and keep that on the open side. Then they're going to take 2 orders in their number 1 slot and 1 order in their number 2 slot, and then everybody else is going to take 1 for 1 on each of those 2 slots. Everybody also gets their own cups, and then you also get your barista out here on the ingredient sheet. On your turn, you're basically going to be able to move around on this board orthogonally. You're going to have to upgrade one of your achievements here before you can move diagonally, but you're going to be basically moving orthogonally on this board, picking up different components or ingredients for your orders that you're trying to fill. Once you have picked up those orders, you're then going to be able to pour your ingredients into your cups, and then if you have the right ingredients in any of these cups, you're going to be able to move them down and prepare those orders and then ship them off, and each order is going to be worth 1 point for you at the end of the game. It's also important to note here right now that upgrades or achievements are also going to be worth points for you at the end of the game as well, to the tune of 2 points per upgrade. Then once you have completed any orders, or maybe you haven't been able to complete any, the passage of time is going to happen, and then all of these are going to move down, and so forth and so on. If you have any in your 4th position here that move off of the board, they become unfulfilled orders, and they're negative 1 point for you at the end of the game. Now, these rush tokens here can be awarded to people for finishing specialty menu recipes for the different drinks that are out here. But as a catch-up mechanism, whenever you have a order slide off the end of the board and become an unfulfilled order, you're also able to take a rush token for every one of your orders that do that. Rush orders are good for you in moving around the ingredient board here, because you can spend one of them to move an extra space. The game will end in a couple of different ways. The first way is when this deck runs out and more orders have to be passed out to people for somebody else having finished theirs. Then that's going to mean that the start player is going to flip this token over to the closed side. Then, if it is the person to the right of the start player, the game automatically ends. But if it's anybody else, the round will finish so that everybody has the same number of turns, and that will be the end. The other way that it can finish is if one person has a 5th uncompleted order card come over off of their board, then the start player is going to flip this over, and the same thing happens. The round will finish, giving everybody the equal number of turns, and then you calculate points. Points are going to be for 1 point for every completed order that you have, and then you're also going to get 2 points for each upgrade that you have as well, and then whoever has the most points is the winner, with unfulfilled orders being negative points as well. So just to give you an idea of how the game might flow, green is going to be the first player here. They have the open sign on their board denoting that they are the first player. That's randomly chosen at the beginning of the game, by the way. And so the first thing that they're able to do on their turn is they're able to activate any of their upgrades. The way you activate an upgrade is if you have 3 finished orders over here, you can spend those 3 orders and flip any of these tokens over to its colored side, and that means that it is now activated and it'll be used for, it'll be available for you until the end of the game. But since we don't have any completed orders yet, we go straight to our movement phase. Now, as I said earlier, you can move orthogonally on this board up to 3 spaces. You can move 1 to 3 spaces, but it has to be orthogonally until you have this upgrade activated. When you're moving around the board, it takes 1 movement spot to go from one space to the other. if, for example, I move into a space that has a barista already there, I have to spend an extra movement point to go there. So it would cost 2 to go here and then 1 more to go over here. It's important to note you cannot have 2 baristas in the same space at the end of their turns. You can move through, but you can't stop there. So continuing on, we're going to go ahead and have green move their turn. And we're just going to move 1 to 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, just like that. And that's going to allow me to take a caramel, a milk, and a coffee bean, like that. And then these can be poured into my cups. I can put them in any of the cups that I want to. And if I have ingredients in there that I don't want anymore, I have to empty the entire cup out. I also can't transform any of the ingredients that are already poured into the cups. So do take that into mind. Now, when I'm pouring these, I can put them in any of the cups that I want to, but because I'm trying to finish this iced caramel macchiato here, I want them to go all in the same spot because that iced caramel macchiato is looking for ice, milk, caramel, and coffee beans. So now that I have those 4 ingredients in there, I can move that down to denote that I finished that order and it's going to be processed this turn. Then I can continue placing and pouring different ingredients otherwhere until I'm done pouring all of the ingredients that I gained this turn. It's important to note, although I don't think it's necessary per se, that you can't carry ingredients outside of a cup over from one turn to the next. You have to pour all of them or simply turn them back into the bank over here. But now that I've completed this order, these ingredients here will be poured out. That cup becomes available to me again, and this moves over here into my completed row. Now that I've completed an order, the next 2 people to the left of me have to take orders and place them in their front areas just like this. And that's how you get more orders. Whenever somebody completes orders, the next 2 people in turn order are going to be taking that number. So if I would have finished 2, they each would have taken 2 cards. If I would have finished 3, they each would have taken 3 cards, all in their number 1 slot. But now that I have finished my turn that way, it now comes to blue player's turn. On blue player's turn, they already started with some steam down here in this corner, and they're trying to finish this con panna over here. And so they already have the steam, but they need milk and coffee beans. So this is going to be difficult for them because pink started on this milk right here, and they were wanting to move through there, but it's going to take 4 spots because it would take 1, 2, 3, 4 to move that way. So they're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. So they're going to look ahead to some other things that might be needful. So they need some water. They also need some ice cubes. So we're just going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, just like that, and take a coffee, a water, and an ice cube. Now that I have these ingredients in here, we're looking at what they need in their cups. So here, they need the coffee bean right here with the steam. They're still missing the milk, so we're not worried about that. This one over here needs ice and water, so we could definitely pour both of these into this cup right here. But if I wanted to, I could have split these 2 up into these 2 different cups, but that's all I'm able to do. One thing I forgot. These 2 orders move down just like this on the end of my turn. And now that I'm finished over here, I haven't finished any of my menus, but they all move down just like this. And so now we come over to yellow, and yellow is really wanting some ice, milk, and coffee. Now it started on the coffee, so it already has 1 coffee, so it needs some milk and some ice. All right, so instead of their original plan, they're just going to go 1, 2, 3 like this. And that means they're going to be able to take a steam, a caramel, and a milk. So those are the 3 ingredients they were able to pick up. And they have coffee here, and that coffee needs a little bit of milk in there, but it needs ice before it's finished, so nothing can happen there. Over here, This doesn't need any, we don't have any of the other ingredients here, but this one, the green tea, does need some steam, so we'll put that right here. And since we don't have any orders here that need caramel, we're just going to go ahead and put that back because we don't really want it. And that's generally how the game will flow, keeping in mind that whenever this deck runs out, that's going to make this turn over. We finish that round, and then points are added up. Or when one person has 5 unfinished orders beneath their board, that will also make this flip over to the closed sign. You finish so that everybody has the equal number of turns, and you add up points for completed orders and upgrades minus unfulfilled orders. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So that's how you play Coffee Rush, and I have to say that this was a pleasant surprise. My wife was recommended this game by a couple of shop owners when she went to a shop over in Idaho one day when she was taking our daughter out to sign up for college and open house and all that other kind of stuff. And while our daughter was doing that, she was killing time, basically. Went over to a board game cafe, board game store, and she asked the owners, what's a game that you guys recommend? And they went immediately to Coffee Rush. And that was an interesting thing because I like Korea board games. Having lived in Korea, I have a little bit of a connection, tenuous at best. But that's one of the things that pulled my interest to the game to tell my wife to go ahead and purchase it. So she brought it back, we played it, and we were like, this is fun. We've played this with new people, we've played it with seasoned gamers, and everybody has had a good time, of course, on various levels. The new people that have played this have been very intrigued by the theme. One of them was actually a former barista. Other people that have played it that were new to the hobby also enjoyed it for the theme because it's one of those themes that are palatable for everyone. Everybody knows about whether you like drinking coffee or not. Everybody knows about being a barista and filling those orders and getting slammed and all of that kind of stuff. So final thoughts wise, this was very well received in a number of different ways by a number of different people and a number of different kinds of gamers. So I will say that, but let's get to my pros and cons. My first pro right off the bat is the component quality. The component quality was such that I really had a great time with these. The little ingredient tokens or pieces, components, whatever you want to call them, were an awesome touch. You could have had just cubes, different colored cubes. You could have had just tokens with different illustrations on them. There could have been a number of different things that would have checked the box and it would have been just fine. A number of games have done that. But they went the extra piece. Not only did they have different colored pieces, they also had different sculpts for all of those pieces. I've always said that games that look better are more fun to play, and I stand by that. And this is one of those shining examples. Could have easily been cardboard tokens, but they decided not to. They went the extra degree and they made those components their own little sculpts. They made them out of plastic, not wood, which again, wooden components would have also been par for the course. But this was a birdie, dare I say, possibly even an eagle. My second pro is going to be the storage solution inside the box. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to give you a little bit of an idea here. They did also provide us with enough of Ziploc baggies for all of the stuff. But it also had this little storage solution in there. So basically each of these little cups has its own little alcove in here and stays right in there just like that. And this works. But that's not the only part. I really thought that that was cool. They could have easily just had an open cavity here, given us a Ziploc bag and said, hey, good luck. But no, they didn't do that. They made an insert that makes sense, is efficient, and holds all of the pieces without moving around. See what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Additionally, all of the components come in their own little bin trays. So you just put this right on top, and that goes right in here. And then you do the same thing for the other one, and that goes right in here as well. And now you have all of the components safely and efficiently stored within the box. And this is retail version, people. This isn't a Kickstarter. This isn't anything like that. This is retail. All right. So I just wanted to say that this is a pro, because I think this company did it right with this particular game. And I wanted to mention it as a pro. 2 thumbs up. Kudos for this storage insert and for the components. Now, as far as gameplay is concerned, that's a pro as well. It was very fun. It was very challenging as well, because you had the puzzle out on the board of moving around your barista to get its different ingredients for each of the orders that it's trying to fulfill. That's a significant puzzle. It's not over challenging or anything like that. I don't want to overstate it, but it was fun and it was challenging and it kept you on your toes. When other players start finishing their orders, you're having to draw 2 extra orders or 3 extra orders sometimes, or just 1 extra order. But that keeps you on your toes and it keeps you moving forward. And it was an interesting, fun, and challenging bit of gameplay. Now, it's not difficult components of that gameplay, however, because you're only moving 1 to 3, possibly more if you're using your rush tokens as you're moving across the ingredient cells. But that's normal. 1 move, 1 movement point, so to speak. And having to spend an extra movement point when you go into a place that's already occupied, that also changes the dynamic just slightly for having to pick up your ingredients. My 4th pro is going to be the advancements or the upgrade tokens that you have on your board. At first, they seem a little bit lackluster. Being able to move diagonally, I have to spend 3 points to be able to move diagonally. That doesn't seem worth it, but they really are, because the more upgrades that you have available to you, the easier it is going to be to get around that ingredient board and get the things that you need to finish more orders and finish more and get more points. So at first, they don't seem like they're worth it, but they are, and that's one of the cool things about it, I thought. Now, the order in which you decide to unlock these advancements or these upgrades is really up to you, and that's really where the difference between you and the other players are going to fall in line. They might want to go get those different upgrades that are going to give them multiple ingredients whenever they land on a space that already has a barista, or maybe they're going to want to move diagonally quicker. These are all decisions that everybody's allowed to make on their own. There's no real prescribed benefit to having one over the other. It just really comes down to what orders come up on your board and what ingredients you're going to need. And so that kind of individual decision making is really cool in the game, and that's one of the reasons why I liked these different upgrades and having them available. Having to spend 3 points for 2 points and the ability to do something that's a little bit stronger is a good balance, although on the front end, as I said, it doesn't seem like it's balanced, but it really is, and that's why it's a pro. So I do have a couple of cons, and the first con is going to be one that's, I think, a little bit more impactful on the actual gameplay. The other one is a little bit of just a nitpick, so we'll get to that in a minute. The first con, however, is that this game can feel overwhelming, especially if you have a bunch of people that are sitting next to you or 2 spaces away from you to the left that are doing pretty well at finishing their orders. They're just happening to land on the right ingredients at the right times, and they're able to just, looks like they just have a real good synergy going. They're going to be pumping a lot of extra orders into your area, and that's going to feel overwhelming. So if people don't like that, it adds a little bit of a stress level to the game that maybe some people won't like. So I do kind of see that as a con, because if other people are doing well, it makes the game a little bit harder for you. So it feels a little bit strange that way, so it's a con. The second con for me is going to be a little bit of a lesser, more of just a personal nitpick, and that is the fact that this is a very low-scoring game. You have to do a lot of work for not a whole lot of points at the end of the game. It feels like, man, I feel like I should have at least 25 points. Oh, I got 8. So it's just that idea. It's much more of a nitpick than anything else, but it's just something that I like to score points. I like to score a lot of points, and having low-scoring games isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I prefer to have more higher points in the game. And of course, you could do that, I don't know how, but you could house rule it, whatever you want to do. But for me, it's a minor con, but it is a con nonetheless. And finally, as far as rating is concerned for Coffee Rush, I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8 out of 10. I really did enjoy this game a lot, and it's going to be staying on my shelf for the near future at the very least because of a couple of things. It has great gameplay. I think it has a great table presence. It also has a great familiarity as far as theme is concerned with new players, and it also has a simple system to teach new players as well, and that all together means that this is going to stay on my shelf for quite some time. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Thanks for joining us here on the Dice Tower. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.